it's Zana. We're up to lesson 25 in Year 2 Phonics, and today is a review lesson. Let's begin with our grapheme deck. Oi, end of words. As in bird. This one has 3 sounds. 3. I as in cry at the end of a short word. E as in happy at the end of a multi-syllable word. And it like in pyramid. Short, a, long, a. 2 sounds. A as in grey, E as in key. What sound's this one? Air. Going to put that aside. See if you can find the other graphemes for air as well. 2 sounds. Ooh, oo. Think of moon book. Short sound, long sound, U. 3 sounds. E as in eat, E as in bread, A as in break. Did you get them all? Shh. Not telling you to be quiet, that's the sound. Shh. Short sound, E, long sound, I. What's that one? I heard you. It's air, isn't it? Usually at the end of words. O, A, middle of words. Oh, you spotted the other air. Well done. I'll put it down, ready to use in our review. And the last one, CK making K at the end of short words following a short vowel. Okay, what's our learning intention today? Our learning intention is to review and use the graphemes AIR, ARE, and EAR, as well as our Latin root port to read and write words. Let's see how we go. Do you remember this that we looked at? We had a pear and a square sitting on a chair to help us remember those different graphemes for the air phoneme, because there is no rule to help us remember and we just have to read, write and spell lots of words with the air graphemes to help us remember which ones to use. So today we're going to use a whole lot more words to see if that can help us make those words stick in our head. Remember which spelling choice we need to use. You ready to go? Excellent. We're going to read some phrases and sentences now that have the air phoneme. Remember, I think most of them are sentences, and a sentence has to have a verb in it and it has to make sense. The sentence might also give us more information about that verb. It might tell us about where something's happening, how something's happening, when something's happening, or why something's happening. Let's read these sentences and see if we can work out a little bit more information about those verbs. You ready to read the first sentence? The bears dared to scare the hare into their lair. Ooh, bears in a lair. Wonder if they're friendly bears. Maybe not if they're scaring a hare into their lair. The bears dared to scare the hare into their lair. Let's read the next sentence. The rarest glassware was stored carefully at the warehouse. The rarest glassware was stored carefully at the warehouse. Have a look at the third sentence, pause it, see if you can read it on your own before I read it with you this time, and come back. Did you read it? Did you get all the words? There's a couple of compound words in there. Let's read it together now. The hairdresser cut the chairperson's hair with care and flair. Let's read them again for fluency. Let's try the second sentence. Are you ready? Pause and have a go on your own, then come back and do it with me. Let's do it together. The rarest glassware was stored carefully at the warehouse. Sentence 1. Pause, have a go on your own, come back and do it with me. The bears dared to scare the hare into their lair. Whoa. Did you use that lair? Whoa, scary word. Remember, the lair is where the fearsome animals. I don't think these are the kind of bears you're going to get a bear hug from. Last sentence. You've done that one. Let's see if you can do it again. Let's do it together straight away. The hairdresser cut the chairperson's hair with care and flair. Okay. Let's have a look at these sentences now and think about the verbs and if there's any more information that we know about what's happening in these sentences with the verbs. So in the first sentence, our verb is that the bears dared to scare. They dared to scare. Where did they dare to scare the hare? Where did they scare the hare? The bears dared to scare the hare into their lair. Let's underline that. That's the bit that tells us about the verb. Where? Where did they dare to scare the hare? They dared to scare the hare into their lair. Probably describe that lair more as well. Might be something for you to look at afterwards. Yeah, form a picture in your head. What do you think? Can you see that bear scaring that little hare into their lair? I wonder what they're going to do when it gets in there. Ooh, almost sounds like poetry, doesn't it? Lots of those words rhyme. Let's have a look at the next sentence. The rarest glassware was stored carefully at the warehouse. The glassware was being stored. It's the verb. It was being stored. How was it being stored? How was the glassware? How was that rarest glassware? Rare means there's not very much of it around. So we want to store it. How do we want to store it safely? Carefully. We're storing it carefully. And where are we storing it? At the warehouse. So we're storing that glass carefully at the warehouse because it's rare. We want to keep it safe. Last sentence. The hairdresser cut the chairperson's hair with care and flair. What's the verb? What's happening in here? The hairdresser, they cut the chairperson's hair. How did they cut the chairperson's hair? They cut it with care and flair. Care and flair. Care means they were a bit careful. Flair means that might have been really fancy, or they might have been throwing their scissors around as they did it. They did it with flair. It's kind of another word like style. If you've got flair, you've got style. So the hairdresser might have been sitting there and chopping the hair with flair. So, but being careful too, because don't want to snip the chairperson's ear, do we? Glad the hairdresser did do that with care. Okay. Did you work all those out? All those verbs and all the describing and telling us a bit more about when, how, why with the verbs? I think you did. Excellent. Let's move on to our next activity. It's time to do our dictation. Make sure you've got something to write on and something to write with. Pause if you need to go collect it. All right, ready to go? I'm going to give you the sentence, and if you like, you can pause straight away and go and try and write it. But if you want a little bit more support and help, just wait and I'll scoop some phrases and give you some spelling choice help. All right, so you ready? A pear on a square plate was placed on a chair. A pear on a square plate was placed on a chair. Pause now if you think you can hold all that and have a go yourself. If not, wait and I'll give you some clues. You ready for some clues? Okay. First clue is that all our air phonemes in our dictation today are actually all our prompt words. So, a pear on a square plate was placed on a chair. So they will help you straight away. I'll scoop the phrases and help you with a couple of other tricky graphemes. Ready? A pear. Pause and write. On a square plate. Split vowel, A sound in plate. Pause and write. A pear on a square plate. Check you've got that. A pear on a square plate. Next bit, was placed. Placed is tricky. It's that gentle Cindy rule in placed and a split vowel. And because we're adding ed because it's past tense, remember to drop the e off of place so you don't have two there. Tricky. Have a go. Was placed. See what we've got so far? A pear on a square plate was placed, last bit, on a chair. A pear on a square plate was placed on a chair. Let's check you've got all those words. It's a sentence, so go back, check for capitals, check for full stop. When you think you're ready, we'll check our work. How did you go? Did you get all the spellings? Let's check our work and find all those air graphemes. Capital at the start. A pear, E-A-R, air, on a square, A-R-E, air, plate, there's that split vowel I talked about. Did you get that one? Was placed. This was that tricky word. We got the C making the sound. Got that split vowel there, and we had to, before we added ed, we had to take an e off, so we didn't have double e, because that wouldn't have made the right word. Was placed on a chair. A-I-R, air. And there is a full stop. My full stop is very small though. I'm going to just go over the top to make sure you can see it, because it's not a sentence if it doesn't have a full stop and a capital letter. And makes sense. So does yours make sense? A pear on a square plate was placed on a chair. Make sure you've got your capital, full stop. If it wasn't your very best handwriting because you were in a hurry, go back and try it again. Write it as neatly as you can. Come back when you're ready for the next activity. It's time to read our passage now. Let's have a look. This passage is about someone getting a haircut. When's the last time you got a haircut? How do you know when you need a haircut? Is your fringe getting in your eyes, getting really annoying, or do your hair tickle your ears? Sometimes you know that that's time to get a haircut, don't you? Let's see what happens in this story about a haircut. It was time for us to get a haircut. My little brother was too scared to go first. He said he had nightmares about it. I told him to stop being a scaredy cat, and I sat down in the chair. The hairdresser carefully submerged my head under the tap to wash it before getting ready to cut. He brushed my hair with a round hairbrush and then got his pair of scissors ready to cut. My brother stared intently at me and began eating his pear. When it was his turn, I gave him a big bear hug and reported that when he wears the hairdressing cape, he would look like a daredevil superhero. So little brother wasn't too keen about having a haircut there, was he? Did you hear any of those air phonemes in there? Did you hear our Latin root port anywhere in there? And I think I heard a word with sub in it from last time that you might have done. Let's see. This time you're going to read with me. We're going to scoop the phrases. You're going to read after I do. Read along with me. Are you ready? It was time for us to get a haircut. My little brother was too scared to go first. He said he had nightmares about it. I told him to stop being a scaredy cat, and I sat down in the chair. The hairdresser carefully submerged my head under the tap to wash it before getting ready to cut. He brushed my hair with a round hairbrush and then got his pair of scissors ready to cut. My brother stared intently at me and began eating his pear. When it was his turn, I gave him a big bear hug and reported that when he wears the hairdressing cape, he would look like a daredevil superhero. What? Did you get all those phrases? Just helps to chunk the sentences sometimes to read to get your fluency going. Let's have a quick look as we go through now and have a look and see if we can find some of those air words and some of those air sounds. Wonder if I'm going to miss any. Oop, there goes my lid. It was time for us to get a haircut, A-I-R. My little brother was too scared to go first. He said he had nightmares, A-R-E, about it. I told him to stop being a scaredy cat and I sat down in the chair. Oh, let's have a look. I think I missed one. Did you see it? Let's have a look. I think it's here. My little brother was too scared. Air. I missed it. There it is. A-R-E, air. He was too scared to go first. He said he had nightmares about it. I told him to stop being a scaredy cat and I sat down in the chair. I think I got them all now. Make sure I don't miss any. Call out really loud if I do. The hairdresser, there it is again, air, carefully, two words in a row, didn't get tricked that time, submerged my head under the tap to wash it before getting ready to cut. He brushed my hair with a round hairbrush and then got his pair of scissors ready to cut. Yep. My brother stared, there's the A-R-E, intently at me and began eating his pear. There's that low frequency spelling, air. When it was his turn, I gave him a big bear hug. There's a nice compound word with air in it. And reported that when he wears, air, the hairdressing, air, cape, he would look like a daredevil superhero. Did I get all the air sounds? I think so. How about, as I was reading, I'm going to change my text to colour though. As I was reading, I heard that Latin root port somewhere. Did you spot it? It was here in reported. Port is reported. And there was another word that I think might have been a little bit tricky. We've seen it last week though, or we've seen it before. Submerged. Remember, sub means under or below, and submerge means to put it under. So he's put his head under the tap, he submerged it, made sure his hair got all wet so he could wash it. So that's submerged. So there was that sub prefix that we've done before. Excellent. What kind of pictures do you get in your head when you read that? Do you think of the times that you've gone to the hairdresser? Have you ever been scared of going to the hairdresser? Sometimes the first time you go to the hairdresser, you might be worried because they've got sharp scissors and they're right near your ears and it makes a funny sound. Maybe you're just worried you're going to get a bad haircut. That's why you don't want to go to the hairdresser. Lots of different reasons. But I always like the hairdresser. I think the hairdresser's fun. So, let's have a look here. My brother stared intently at me. What does that mean? He's staring intently. It's a bit of a tricky word, isn't it? Intently. He's staring intently. So we know when someone stares, they look a long time, look really straight at you. So intently means he's staring at me with purpose. So he's really looking carefully at me getting my hair cut because my little brother's scared. So he's sitting there with his pear and he's munching on his pear and he's looking really carefully at me to make sure this haircut's going okay because he's scared. So he's making sure that I'm not getting hurt while the hairdresser is cutting my hair. He's staring intently. And then how about here where I said that, so I gave him a big bear hug and reported. Who did I report to, do you think? Did I get on the news and go, my brother has haircut, wears superhero cape, looks like Daredevil? I don't think I reported on the news, did I? I probably reported to him. I told him, did you know, mate, that when you sit in that chair, I reckon I might be a big brother or sister telling this story perhaps. When you sit in that chair, you look like a Daredevil superhero, just to make him feel a little bit better and a bit calmer. I think that's probably who we were reporting to. So we're telling our brother, he's doing a good job. What I'd like you to do now is pause your screen and have a read through this again on your own. Try and make it sound interesting. Don't use that robot voice and be really boring. Pay attention to the punctuation. Have you seen those exclamation marks in there? It means something surprising or exciting is happening. Make sure it sounds that way when you read it as well. Pause the video, have a go, read it 3 times just to make sure you get it really well, and then come back. How did you go? Did you make it sound exciting? Did you remember to use those exclamation marks, scoop the phrases and get your fluency just right? I bet you did. All right, we've come to that time of the lesson. It's time for our review. What was our learning intention today again? Can you remember? That's right. We were going to review and use the graphemes AIR, ARE, and EAR, representing the phoneme air, and also the Latin root port to read and write words. Independent task before we sign off today. Your independent activity is to have a look at this graphic. A pear and a square sitting on a chair. Can you do another picture for this? Can you illustrate it differently? Or you might want to come up with your own sentence using the AIR graphemes, AIR, ARE and EIR. You might even use different prompt words. You also need to make sure that you read the 2 reading passages or pick one reading passage to read. There'll be 2 for you to choose from. So pick a reading passage, read it 3 times, and then work on illustrating this sentence to remember all the AIR graphemes, or create and illustrate your own AIR sentence to remember all the graphemes. Because remember, no rules, we just have to read and write it lots of times to make it stick. Great work this week. I'm sure you'll create some really great sentences and pictures. I'll catch you next time.